Hello, everyone. How are you all? Yes, Bridget, to answer your question, that was working. So welcome along tonight. Yes, Steve, the blowing out was quite a commitment. I really committed to the part, but it was a lot of fun. Welcome along. I hope you've all had a lovely week. We have got another great thanks. I'm still in one piece, Steve. We've got another great lesson in store tonight. I'm pretty excited about it. So just quickly, if you've got any technical difficulties tonight, you all know the drill, but basically the key thing to do is to refresh your browser tab. And if that doesn't work, close it and go back and reopen it from the email. Up in the top right-hand corner, you will notice a LearnBridge Online logo. And if you have any problems that can't be solved that way, then just click on there and it will come through to me in the background and I will do my level best to help you out. So with all that said, good evening, Sleepy Shauna. Nice to see you. I will start the recording and get our teacher down for our exciting lesson. It's a goodie, I can just feel it. They're all good, but hey Rosa, hey Chris, Steve, B, everybody. All right, we're off. So welcome along to another LearnBridge Online lesson. Welcome to both those people who are on the live streaming session and those people who are watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, come along and join us live. It's lots of fun and we all enjoy asking our questions and I'm sure Bridget loves the interaction. Speaking of Bridget, let's invite her down because she's got something in store for us that is, I believe, pretty exciting today. It's always exciting, but I'm just excited about tonight's topic, let's face it.
Slams are always exciting.
Yeah, they are always exciting, but I know it's really exciting tonight. I've been waiting for this one.
Well, actually, we're not diving straight into slams. We're going to start with a bit of revision on the balancing things. We just touched on that last week. So I'm going to revise a wee bit of that first. So I need everyone to think and remember. So I'm going to be firing questions at you. And then once we've done that little bit of revision, then we're going to move into some cool slam stuff.
Excellent. All right. Well, I will jump out and I'll see you all at the end. But have a great lesson, everybody.
Excellent. See you soon. Right. So what I'm going to do, let me just pop me sideways. Revision on balancing. I want you to think about it. Can someone give me a definition? I know that might be quite a lot of typing, but if someone's got quick fingers, what is balancing? What's the point of balancing? So for those who weren't here last week, you might be thinking, what's she talking about? But for those who were, I want someone to pop in if they can, if someone can type fast enough, tell me what it means to balance. Steve's going, I can see him typing. And Shauna's very quick. She said giving partner a chance to bid. Yeah, that's great. Looks like Caroline's coming up with something as well. Caroline's saying you bid in the last set with fewer points than usual. Yep, keeping auction open. That's also excellent, B. Chance to bid. So all these things are kind of right. The whole idea of balancing is that you don't want the opponents, if you can, to play at the 2 level. So if the opponents are playing and have won the auction at the 2 level, if you can do anything about that, you really want to think about doing that. So if they've agreed a fit at the 2 level, they're probably going to make it. And the fact that they're just bidding and agreed their suit at the 2 level probably means that your side could have something on as well. Let's see what Steve has written. Bidding when you usually wouldn't, but you're in the pass out position. And if you don't come into the auction will end. That's right. So if you pass, the auctions just come to a complete end and none of you can come back in. So it's when you're the last person to bid normally, and you have to take action to stop them playing at the 2 level if you think that's the right thing to do. So then they've got an excellent comment now from Caroline as well. So the idea is either to steal the contract so you get to play, or to at least force them up to the 3 level. So if you can force them up to the 3 level, their job is much harder. It's much harder to make 9 tricks than it is to make 8 tricks. So if they started off in 2 hearts and you've balanced and ended up bidding 2 spades between you and your partner, then if you can push them to the 3 level, then your job is done. It's just that little bit harder for them. So before we do anything, let me just quickly do a couple of examples of that. We'll just remind ourselves of exactly what's happening. So I'll just share that screen. Where are we? Okay, this one here. Can everyone see the bridge base one? Okay, great. Let's just run through the bidding on this one. So you are in East. You've got a 13 count. You've got a very normal spade opening. That's regardless of what system you play. And a lot of people are going to be bidding 2 spades here with this hand, depending on what sort of system you play. But 2 spades would be what most Wests are bidding. And then it would go pass by North, because North has got 11 points, but North is not going to be making a takeout double here because North has got 3 cards in the opponent's suit. They've also only got 3 of the other major. If you double, normally, in a normal position, if you double a major, it's strongly implying that you've got 4 in the other major, unless you're a bigger hand. So this person is passing, and then East just passes out, and then suddenly South now knows that if they pass this auction, it's all gone forever. Poof, they're playing in 2 spades. So if South wants to get involved, they have to do it now. What basically South should be thinking is, what sort of hand am I expecting my partner to have? So you can see here that they've got an 11 count, and that's a very normal sort of holding for your partner to have. They'll also be looking at their spade and thinking, well, look, if I've got one of these, my partner's probably got 3. She may have 4, but she's got probably just a balanced hand. So she's been unable to get involved. And then you also know that you have got all the other suits covered. So if your partner's got 3 spades, which is likely, she must have 4 at least in one of the other suits. So if she's got 3 spades, worst case, she's got a 4 triple 3. And that's exactly what she does have here, you can see. So fact that you've got a fit in either hearts, in clubs, or in diamonds. So in this pass out position, in this balancing seat, if you've got a shortage, you can make a double with as few as 8 points. And I even said 7 last time. And I think I also pointed out that I spotted Peter Crouch doing it with 6 points sometimes. Here, you're pushing to the 3 level. So you're probably going to be more on the 8+ side. You're going to be a little bit scared if you're vulnerable, because if you're vulnerable, going down is a horrible thing. And you don't necessarily want to take that risk. But here, I'm definitely doubling because I know my partner has got a fit with me somewhere. And I'm hoping that either we can steal the contract, regardless of whether we go down, we might go down, or we can push them to 3 spades and make their life a bit harder. So I would double. West is going to pass at this stage. North is going to come back in and bid 3 diamonds. And then I actually think that West or East here are going to do something. So East is thinking, I've got, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. The Queen of Diamonds is not worth that much in the Doubleton. So I think East would probably pass. But my guess is when it came back round to West, they're probably going to think I'm quite high end for my 2 spade bid. My partner's probably got, if they're playing Ackle, they've probably got 5 spades. If they haven't got 5 spades, it's because they're a big balanced hand. If they've only got 4 of them, it's because they've got lots of points. So we have almost certainly got a 9-card fit here. And they're going to feel tempted, I think, to come in and bid 3 spades. So even with Ackle, your partner is extremely likely to have 5-card suit. If you're playing 5-card majors, they're obviously going to have a 5 or more card suit. So it's going to push them to the 3 level. And I think they can still make 3 spades here, but they can go wrong. It's much more easy to go wrong in 3 than 4. They could easily go off here, but at least you've made their job harder. Right, let's try another one. Just to really lock in this idea. This time we have got North opening the bidding. This is one of the hands that I seem to get all the time. Balanced 5 counts. So poor old North is passing. East is passing. Don't open these balanced 10 counts. That's pretty horrible. And South is opening. This is an interesting one. So this is it's a very nice hand, the South hand, isn't it? This one here, it's a very good 17 count. So if you were playing 5-card majors, you would be thinking about opening in a strong no trump. You're either opening 1 no trump, You might even think maybe I should be upgrading this. I might even upgrade it and treat it like an 18 count and open one club with a view to rebidding 2 no trumps on this one here. So I would, but if you are playing Echo, you're certainly opening a club. Let's just make it a club opening. West cannot bid here normally. They just don't have a normal takeout double. They've only got 9 points. So you're not doubling normally with these sorts of hands. You have to have 11 plus really to make a takeout double originally. Is it only 16? Did I miscount? 16. You're absolutely right. It's 16. So you're not going to be upgrading it. You're either opening 1 no trump if you play strong no trumps, or you're opening 1 club if you're playing Echo. I'm opening 1 club with this one today because I'm going to play Echo. Sorry about my counting. So they're going to pass. What would you do if you're North? If you knew that your partner had genuine clubs, if you were playing, if you're playing 5-card majors, and your partner could maybe have 2 clubs here, you probably feel a bit different about it. But if your partner did have genuine clubs here, I think that I would support the clubs here and bid 2 clubs. So East is not in the balancing seat. So East is passing. South has got a bit of a call to make, really. So problem with clubs is it's a long way to get to game. Is inverted minors a good idea? Yeah, inverted minors are a good idea if you're playing 5-card majors. I'm not sure everyone will know what they are, but we can definitely talk about them sometime. So South might be a conservative player. South could pass here. Some people will make another bid here. I would be thinking my partner hasn't got hearts or spades. They've supported my clubs. I can see quite a lot of losers. I might pass here. I might be conservative. And then what should West do? What is West expecting from her partner? Yeah, West is going to double. It's an interesting situation because West knows fact that her partner didn't open the bidding. So East has got fewer than 12 points. I think Beast said our inverted minors only for 5-card majors. I think they tend to be. I'm just going to have to think it through whether anyone would ever play it with ACOL. I don't think there's the same need, but I'm just going to have to take some time to process it and work it out because I only ever learned it when I was playing 5-card majors. So West is going to be thinking, I wonder what he's got in the East hand. I know they've passed out in 2 clubs, so they don't have more than 4 points between the 2 hands. And then they're also going to think, if I don't make a bid here, then I'm going to have to pass it out in 2 clubs, and they're playing in 2 clubs, and they're probably going to make it. So this is a great sort of balancing position. Suddenly you don't need these normal values. So they're going to make this takeout double. And then East is going to come in and bid 2 hearts. They can see what their partner's doing. They saw their partner didn't double the first time, so they know that this is a balancing sort of situation. And then South is definitely going to push up now, aren't they? They're going to be thinking, I was a bit conservative last time. I'm going to push this up to 3 clubs. And your work is done, as Caroline says. Your work is done. You've made them go to the 3 level, and I'm pretty sure they're going to go off here. You can see there that they should even be going off 2. If you lead this heart suit, you're going to lead the jack, the top of the internal sequence, and you've pushed them higher, and you've done a good job, and you haven't sort of sold out to 2 clubs. Okay, let me try one more, and then we're going to get on to some slams. Okay, this one. Okay, so this one we're playing ACOL. You've opened a spade. I think even I can count that this would be a 1 no trump opening if you are playing a strong no trump. So East is passing. This person has come in. This happened recently, this hand to me, which is why I'm showing it to you. This person comes in and bid 1 no trump. What are you going to do with the West hand? I mean, it's a trick question, really. Yeah, Chris is right. I mean, you just got to pass, don't you? You're sitting there thinking, this is kind of interesting. I've got a lot of spades here. You're going to pass very calmly and smoothly. And then North passes, because that was basically North's rebid. North was thinking that I'm a hand which normally would be rebidding one no trump. I'm a 15 through to 17 count, so they're passing. So the next question is, should East do something? So think about this, and it's possible I'm trying to trick you, just as a clue. Do you think East should get involved now? What sort of hands could South have? It's tempting to bid those clubs, but should you? Is this a balancing sort of position? They're going to hate one no trumps. Chris saying it's not a balancing position. Glenn saying one no trumps could be great, defended. And the other really, really important thing is here, they don't have a fit. They've not shown a fit. So it's very possible South is sitting there with a whole bunch of clubs, for instance. So this is not a balancing position. Even though they've sold out sort of in one no trump, you can't really get involved here. It's extremely dangerous to get involved in this situation. If you start bidding two clubs, you could be going down a lot. It could well be that your partner doesn't have any clubs and the other and South has got a whole bunch, or you can see here they're actually sort of evenly distributed. So this is not a balancing position, as tempting as it might be. This is a simple pass position. And it can be really tempted to make some sort of bid here, but this is a very, very different situation because they haven't shown a fit. It doesn't look like you guys necessarily have a fit. So getting involved becomes an extremely dangerous thing to do. A lot of experts play quite peculiar system here that if they did bid two clubs, it's showing something weird like clubs and hearts. But I have never explored that with my partner. For me, this would just be a very clear pass here. So that's not a balancing thing. Glenn's saying South should have passed with 4 points. I actually think that I might have bid in this particular seat just because I've got five card major, and it depends also on whether you're playing match points or teams. So you're not vulnerable here. If I'm playing teams, I'm definitely coming in and bidding. Even in match points, I might, like your 10s are kind of worth half a point each, and you've got 2 5-card suits. It could just go horribly wrong. I tend to be a little bit more aggressive in responding when I've got a 5-card major. So I might have come in and bid even with those 4 points. In teams, I really would have, I think. Sometimes in teams, if you don't bid, the opponents can end up finding their game. So here, it does depend a little bit on style. My partner knows that I can often be responding quite light here. But yeah, they could just come back and bid 2 spades, and that would be a disaster. And you're playing 2 spades now, and you're offering your partner a dummy with no spades in it and a 4 count. But what also could happen is you might bid one no trump, and they might come back in and bid 2 hearts. So I think I probably would have bid in this South seat, but a lot of people won't. Most people won't. And again, it does depend on match points or if you're playing in teams. Right, so okay, now for the fun stuff. That was good revision, and I'm thrilled that everyone seems to get that and understand what we're doing. Let's just now talk about sniffing out a slam. That's the expression I use with my partner sometimes. We go, oh, we're good at sniffing out slams. And if you can sniff out slams, you'll get some nice results. And as we all know, slams are great fun. But let's just talk through first some of the philosophy on slam bidding. Okay, so these are some stats which I've always quite liked. So how often do they actually make slam? And it's much, much higher than you think. The number of times that hands can make 12 or 13 tricks is something extraordinary. I think so I Googled it somewhere and it said like over 13.5% of all hands can actually make that many tricks, which is huge, really. I remember being so surprised when I heard that. But we all know that doesn't mean you can actually bid them. Sometimes they're just completely lucky. And often I get sent hands and people will say to me, how do we bid slam here? What do we do? Like, how do we get to slam? And you think, well, you shouldn't be in slam. I can see that slam makes, but it's basically on the fact that the Queen of Trumps is dropping and 2 finesses are working. You shouldn't be in slam. But some hands you should be in slam, and other hands it's lucky. You know, if you're making 12 or 13 tricks, you've just got a wee bit lucky. So just because slam makes does not mean that slam should be bid. But I'm sure all of you have on occasion have played with a partner who said, why didn't you do something else? Why didn't you bid to slam? And you'll be saying, well, it's not actually a great slam. It's not always the right place to be, even though it can make. So not so many are actually makeable. So I think it's, and I was trying hard to get an actual statistic on how many bids, biddable, how many are actually biddable. And I think it's somewhere around 7%. I've been Googling away trying to get a statistic, and it's hard to know because it's how many are actually being bid and made is not actually the same as how many should have been bid. Obviously, you'd have to kind of look at experts, I guess, to know precisely how many are biddable. People who always get their stam bidding right. And they're not that easy to find, slams. I mean, the no trump ones are the easiest to find, really, because it's purely quantitative. It's just points. If you want to be in 6 no trumps, you really want to be having 33 points between the two hands. You really don't want to be missing an ace and a king in one of the defender's hands and they just go bang, bang and play out the ace and the king. Major ones are the next easiest to bid. And one of the main reasons the major ones are a little bit easier to bid is, and even if you're looking for game, if you lock in the major, you're never usually coming back to no trumps. Normally we're told, if you've got a major fit, unless you've got lots and lots of points, if you've got a major fit, it tends to be better playing in the major fit than playing in no trumps. So once you've locked in that major, you've got a bit of space and you know that you can bid and you're going to come back to that major. What have we got here? A $5 word. Oh, it's probably going to be a word I don't understand. With minors, though, I mean, if you and your partner have agreed a minor fit, what is normally the main thing you're thinking about? Normally, if you've got a minor fit. So say you've got 25 points between both of you and you've got a minor fit. Normally, especially at match points, what are you thinking normally? Yes. Yeah. Everyone's super quick. Yeah. Brilliant, everyone. Yeah. You're thinking no trumps. Those minors are not worth very much. They're only worth 20 points each. And you've got to go all the way up to that 5 level to get your game score. And I'm sure you've experienced this as well. Sometimes you end up in 5 diamonds or 5 hearts, and 5 diamonds, or 5 clubs, and you're playing in match points, and you play it beautifully, very elegantly, and then you get a 0 because everyone else is in 3 no trumps. So the problem with the minors is if you go past 3 no trumps, unless you really think slam's got a chance, you're risking a bottom. And that's just such a different philosophy from the majors. From the majors, if you start to sort of explore slam, you can still be in the major. Even if you've gone to the 5 level with the major and sign off and you're making 5 but not 6, you're not going to get a bottom for being in 5 rather than 4 plus 1. You're getting the same score. But with a minor, as soon as you go past that 3 no trumps, you've done it, really, in match points, particularly if you don't get to slam. And so for that reason, people are really nervous about going past 3 no trumps. They're probably thinking, what's the chance? What's the chance of actually getting to a slam and a minor? Maybe it's not that high. Let's just settle for 3 no trumps, and then you miss your slam. So it's much harder to bid these minor slams. And Chris has said he's been given advice, which is I think good advice, that if you are in 5 of a minor and suddenly you realize that actually everyone's in 3 no trumps, you know that you're going to get a bottom. So then it becomes kind of like, I'm getting a bottom anyway, maybe I should just punch down 6 because at least then I've got a chance of a top, which is a sort of match point tactic again. So 5 of minor, bad place to be in match points if you think everyone else is in 3 no trumps. But sometimes 5 of the minor can be a right place to be. And sometimes everyone else is going off in 3 no trumps, and all these things is about understanding the hands and how the hands fit together. So it's complicated, but that's why minor suits are really hard to find slams in. It's much, much harder. So clues that you might be in slam. This is when you should be sniffing out your slam. So when you're in a suit slam, things that you should be looking for is a lot of shape. Shape is great. Someone last week, and it might have been Steve, said, look, you can make grand slam with 10 points, right? You could pick up every single spade in the pack, and you could just bid. Yes, it was. You said, I think it was. And you know that you can win every single trick. So it's not about points. It's so weird. Everyone says, how many points for a suit slam? And you say, it's not about points. It's about how the hands fit together. It's about shape. It's about all sorts of other things. It's about real hand analysis trying to get to a suit slam. So lots of shape is wonderful. Long suits can be amazing things. They're a great source of tricks and you can throw away your losers. Double fits, also wonderful, because you're only really dealing with 2 suits. all those points, if they're in 2 suits, it's a great thing. High cards and partner's suit are also good. They're not sort of wasted values. If you've got high cards and short suits and they're in partner suits, that's great. You don't want wasted values opposite shortages. If you've got opposite sort of shortage, you don't want your values. You want to just be able to rough those little cards rather than having to take account twice of the big cards that you've got. Did I say that clearly? Does everyone know what I mean by not wasted values opposite shortage? If you have 3 small cards opposite a void, you can turn them all into roughs. But like if you had the queen and jack opposite a shortage, you're just kind of wasting them because they're going to get roughed. Oh, good. So people are very familiar with that idea. Linda said she finds it a bit confusing. Yeah. So shortages are great things, aren't they? Because you can rough cards with them. So it basically means if you've got little small cards, which I call pips, in the other hand, you can turn those little pips into winners. But when you've got big cards opposite the shortage, they're kind of winners already. So you're not turning them into winners. You're just taking points and giving them extra values for being, you're turning points and you don't necessarily want to rough them. So what you really want is to have those points in other suits where they're going to make tricks in their own right and have the little small cards being able to rough. So the big cards have already potentially got tricks for themselves, but little cards opposite shortage magically get turned into tricks. So it's much more powerful to have the big cards doing their job where they can make tricks in their own right and have little cards turning into tricks by being roughed. So when you see lots of values opposite a shortage, that's a bit of a flag that it's not a great thing. You don't normally want your big cards opposite a shortage. So rubbish opposite a shortage gives you extra tricks, exactly. And great pips are also good things. I just said pips as the expression for small cards like 10s and 9s and 8s are really much, much more useful than 2s and 3s and 4s. I'm sure you've noticed before when you're playing how valuable sometimes those cards can be and how they can make tricks, those big pip cards. Shall we have a quick chat about Italian style cupids first? We'll go through and talk about them a wee bit, but I might just do a bit of revision over them. They come up a lot, Italian style cupids. They're such good things. So let's just run through them. The history of them is they came from the Italian blue team, which was a very, very famous Italian team. And in the old days, people only ever cupid with aces. And now then the Italians came up with this idea that you could cupid with a first or second round control, an ace or a king, or a singleton or a void. But let's talk about it. So when you've agreed a major at the 3 level, so say it goes 1 of a major, 3 of a major, or maybe it's gone 1 of a major, 2 no trumps to say Jacoby, and then your next bid 3 clubs perhaps to show shortage, then all bids after this become cupids. And the idea is rather than just bidding 4 no trumps straight away, you want to find out first that you've got the side suits kind of under control, that you've got them covered basically. In slam, you're not going to make a slam if the opponents can take the first 2 tricks in a suit. So you don't want to really ever be bidding 4 no trumps asking for aces if the opponents can just play out the first 2 rounds in a suit. That's really very, very dangerous. You have to have a way of stopping the opponents playing out 2 rounds of a suit. So that's what you're trying to do with Italian style cupids, is just do a check. It's like just looking around your house first to make sure all the windows are shut. You need to make sure before you go out, you need to make sure the opponents can't take 2 tricks first. So you can do this by telling your partner, hey, I've got a control of either first or second round control, a way of stopping it in the first round or a second round. In each suit. So you go systematically up through the suits in order of bidding to tell your partner, like it is a bit like going around your house, shutting the windows. So you say, hey, this first window shut, the second window shut, the third window shut, the fourth window shut, we're all good. Well, the third window shut, only 3 side suits, we're good. So it's like a being responsible and making sure that the opponents can't take the first 2 tricks in a suit. So the first or second round control can sometimes be a bit confusing exactly what that means. A first round control is like an ace, clearly. Like if the opponents play a card and you have an ace, you stop the suit in its tracks with the ace. That's first round control. And same with a void. If they play a card and you've got a void, you can rough it and stop that nasty suit from the opponents in the very first round it's played. So first round controls are great, but second round controls are also useful. So a second round control is either a singleton or a king. That's a second round control. And Italian style cue bids look at having either of those controls, either a first or a second round control. Got Trisha typing something. I'll keep an eye out, Trisha, to see what you're about to say. Okay, so this is just a bidding example. Let's just talk through this bidding example too. So let's just run through it. Is that big enough for everybody to see it there? I hope it is. Got South opening a heart. Great. Okay, let's just run through this, what your partner said and what your partner hasn't said. So South opens a heart here. North has jumped to 3 hearts. So you've agreed the major and you're bidding at the 3 level now. So cue bids for majors come in now. So now South has said 3 spades. So now you're doing this checking business. You're just going through, making sure that there's no vulnerability in any suit. And you start with the bottom suit first that you have. So South bids 3 spades. So South is saying, I have a first or a second round control of spades, and I'm interested in slam. If South weren't interested in slam, South would just bid 4 hearts. So South is basically saying, I've got an interest in slam, given that information you've given to me. And I've got either a first or a second round control in spades. It's the first bid available to you. So even though spades is higher ranking than clubs or diamonds, it's the first bid available to you in the sequence. So your spade bid has to come first. If you bid for clubs first, you are now denying that you've got that spade stopped. So that's why it's so clever. So you start by bidding the one you have at the lowest bid available you have. So I've got a spade first or second round control. Now North has come in and said, okay, that's great. I've got first or second round control in diamonds. What has North not got here? This is the key thing. What has North not got? Because you always bid them the lowest one first. Great V, yeah. Clubs. They don't have a first or second round control in clubs. And that's so useful. So you know that North has got at least 2 clubs now. Could have more than 2 clubs, but North has got at least 2 clubs. And within those 2 clubs, North does not have the king. So that's useful information. So if South now comes in and bids 4 no trumps, they must have that club suit controlled, because they would never, ever ask for key cards if they didn't know that every suit was covered either in the first or the second round. So North basically says, don't worry, I do have that club suit controlled, and I really want to know how many key cards you've got. Then North comes in and says 5 hearts, which is if you're playing Roman key card Blackwood, or even if you're playing normal Blackwood, actually, says I have got 2. If you're playing Roman key card, it says 2 without the queen. And then South has now come in and said, lovely, I love that. Thank you very, very much. Let's go to 6 hearts. So that's an auction with Italian style cue bids. So you bid them the lowest one that you have first. You never jump past a control that you've got. Unless you don't, you never jump past a control that you've got. And if you have jumped past an opportunity to bid a control, that says to your partner, I don't have it. I don't have it. The one to really watch out for, the one I notice people get wrong all the time, and it's kind of like an optical illusion, is the spade one. So it might go 1 heart, 3 spades, and people sometimes forget to mention their spades because in their head it's a higher ranking suit and they start by bidding the club. But if you bid the club first here, you've denied a spade control. That's probably the little pitfall that I see people fall into a wee bit. And I think it is just a psychological thing because the spades are higher ranking. But here, you have to bid the spade one first because it's the first available bid to you. And then you kind of wiggle your way up. I want to just compare that to and show you why it's different to a minor auction. Let me just go and have a quick look. A light bulb moment. Brilliant, Shauna. I love light bulb moments. They're wonderful when they happen, aren't they? They're great. Okay, let's try this minor suit one. This is all quite different. So let's, it is the same optical illusion as the splinter. Yeah, it is. For some reason, spades is an optical illusion because it can come in at the 3 level, and you're expecting them to be at the 4 level. Someone's asked a question which I may have missed. Was that you? Does it go down if every... So Rosemary, if every control happened to be a second round, you're not necessarily going to go down, but you're not going to end up probably in... Well, you're not going to end up in 6. but you at least will know that you haven't got the first two tricks. I mean, I suppose you could end up going too high by mistake, but normally the fact that you're both interested means that it's not going to happen in every single suit. And the idea is that you will stop before 6, but you won't have two tricks taken from you. Did Trisha's question come through? I'll keep looking. Okay, so this next one here we've got South opening a club. North has responded a diamond, and South has jumped to 3 diamonds. South's hand probably here has got 5 clubs and 4 diamonds. It could be most people, even if they're playing 5 card majors, if they've got 4 clubs and 4 diamonds, are always opening the diamond, but perhaps it does depend a little bit on system here. So it looks like they've got 5 clubs and 4 diamonds. So it's gone 1 club, 1 diamond by North, 3 diamonds by South. So what's South showing? How many points has South got when they make a jump here? What's he got to jump to 3 diamonds in terms of points? It's a big hand. So 18 plus is not, it's not going to be an 18 plus because they're locking in the diamond suit. It's basically saying, yes, I have got a diamond fit with you. So a 2 diamond bid would be 12, 13, 14, 15. And a 3 diamond bid is 16, sort of 17 kind of range. So it's that I'm not 100. So 3 diamonds can be passed from a 6 count. So it's not a game forcing bid here. They're just saying I've got more than a normal opening hand and I've got a diamond. I've got a diamond fit with you. I think if you had a 19 count, you're going to be doing something different because you do not ever want your partner to pass that 3 diamonds. So then North has come in and bid 3 hearts. What do you think that means? What are you trying to find with the minors? So you've agreed a minor at the 3 level. When you've agreed a minor at the 3 level, what's your main priority? Is it slam or, yeah, brilliant, B says no trumps, yeah. So your key, normally, what you're trying to find here is that you want to have interest and you want to know that you're safe in no trumps. So there's 2 suits here that haven't been discussed. There's hearts and spades. So most people play that you bid, when there's 2 suits missing, you bid the one that you've got. You say, hey, I've got the hearts covered. People play different things, but that's the way I would do it. So for me, from the North hand, I'm bidding the suit that's of interest that I've got, just so my partner knows. I'm saying, hey, look, there's 2 suits missing, hearts and spades. I want you to know I've got the hearts covered. I've got something in the hearts. And that could easily be something like the Queen, Jack 10 or something. It's unlikely that you've got 4 hearts because if you have 4 hearts, you probably would have bid the hearts first, depending on your system. But you're basically saying, I've got these hearts covered. And so it's not a first or second round control. You could have the hearts covered with the Queen, Jack 10. You just need a stop. But that doesn't mean it's the ace or the king. It's not a first or second round control. And then when South bids 3 no trumps, again, it's just saying, I'm not worried about the spades. South saying, I've got some sort of protection in the spade suit. They couldn't bid 3 no trumps otherwise. I'm happy to play in 3 no trumps because you've got the hearts covered. I've got the spades covered. And they've gone to 3 no trumps. And if they didn't have the spades covered, then South would have to go to 4 diamonds and they might be in 5 diamonds and 5 diamonds might make when 3 no trumps doesn't. And the people who haven't got this bidding in the room might be playing in 3 no trumps going off because the spade suit is vulnerable. So it's a very different philosophy here. These 2 bids are not Q bids. But say over the 3 no trumps, North pulled it to 4 diamonds. That's showing interest in slam. That's saying, we've gone past 3 no trumps. I want to be playing in diamonds. And now bids would become Q bids up the line again, bidding them the cheapest one first up the line. Okay, so the next thing we've got is this hand that Shauna and Caroline had the other day. So I want to have a quick look at this one. So I can't remember quite if the bidding was the same. I'm pretty sure you didn't have a splinter in your bidding, Caroline and Shauna. It might not have been. Anyway, it was definitely either Caroline or Shauna. So this hand here, what are you thinking with this hand here? Do you feel like you can sniff a slam here? Let's talk about everything that we know. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 points. And you've opened a heart because you've got 2 5-card suits, that principle that comes across over and over again in bridge. 2 5-card suits, you open the high ranking, you respond. It's not the high ranking. Yeah, no, you open the high ranking, you respond with the high ranking, high 5. And even if you're overcalling and you're not using any system, you'd overcall. with the higher ranking one as well. So what do you know about the East hand here? And can you sniff a slam here? The good and the bad. What's the good and the bad about this hand? So 4 clubs is not natural, it's a splinter. So East is saying when they bid 4 clubs that I'm happy to play in 4 hearts, but I have got a shortage in clubs and I've got at least 4 hearts. So it's a splinter bid. To make a splinter bid here, to be happy to play in 4 hearts with a shortage, you need to have about 9 plus points now. Because 9 plus points for your shortage, you're basically saying I'm happy to be in game. But before I just bid 4 hearts, I want to let you know that I have got a shortage in clubs, which can be really useful information. So it agrees the hearts and it says I have got 0 or 1 club. Yep, thanks, Chris. So Splinter, yes, I think Splinter needs to be alerted because it's in the first round of the bidding. So it does need to be alerted. But it's like, I always think of it as like indicating when you're driving. When in doubt, just indicate, just alert. People are not going to tell you off for too much alerting, but they're certainly going to tell you off if you don't alert when you should do. So worst case scenarios, they're going to say, you didn't need to alert that. And you go, okay, cool. Just wanted to be safe. Better to be safe than sorry. So, okay, so what are you thinking? In fact, has everyone got a pen and paper handy? Because if you've got a pen and paper handy, maybe write down what you think the hand might be. Is there a hand that could make slam here? So give your partner a minimum of about sort of 9 points. There's been an overcall from North. Like, what card do you think's in the North hand to overcall a spade here? Very likely. They've overcalled 1 spade. They're going to have the king. Yeah, Chris, great. They're going to have the king, right? So you're not putting the king of spades in your partner's hand. So now and you also know your partner's got a shortage in clubs. So now start giving your partner some points where slam might make. Are there some points are there hands that slam could make? So this is a classic example of points opposite a shortage. So these values here may not actually be points in their own right because you're going to be roughing them. So if you even had the 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, you could be roughing them. So there are points opposite a shortage. So East probably has got diamonds, right? And so you've got East points opposite your shortage, but don't get blinded all the time by the points opposite a shortage. Because even if I did have the 9, 8, 7 here of clubs, I might be thinking maybe slam's still making. So they're points opposite a shortage and they're wasted, but maybe you can afford to waste them here. So try and see if anyone can come up with a hand that makes slam. See if you can think of one opposite this hand. Because my first thought when I was looking at this hand is, you've got all those clubs opposite the shortage. But see if you can come up with a hand that makes slam with 9 or 10 points. First Can you see me? I should be back. Hey, I have no idea where I went then. I don't know if I was talking to myself for 5 minutes. Hopefully I didn't miss too much. So did we got to talking about the splinter? Did everyone hear you talked about the splinter? I wasn't sure what had happened. Just suddenly I seemed to have disappeared, but I didn't even lose Wi-Fi connection. So it was a bit weird. But anyway, here I am. So we've got the splinter bid. And while I was gone, did everyone write down the slam hand that they think could make here? Did somebody write down a hand that's going to make slam? Don't be blinded by values opposite shortage. Yeah, so usually they're bad things, but sometimes you can actually afford to waste things. Can anyone think of a hand that can make slam here? So you know that they could have 9 points. Okay, let's just try. What about if your partner has got a void in clubs, or even one club, has got the ace of diamonds and the king of hearts? So imagine that. Yeah, let's have a look. Who's got that? So Caroline's saying three spades. Yep. 5 hearts. Cool. Ace, king of diamonds, and a club. Yeah. So there definitely hands here that can make slam. Quite a few hands, even though you've got that, even though you've got those values in the club suit. So, and that would be a minimum, really. What have you got there? So even if they didn't have the king of diamonds, have a look at Caroline's hand that she's posted. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She's given 11 points. But even without that king of diamonds, and that's sub minimum, really, that's only an 8 count, it can still make slam. There's a lot of hands here that can make slam. You're expecting the hearts, well, you're hoping the hearts could break 2-2, so it could even just be the king, right, of hearts. So I think here I would be interested in asking. And I'd be thinking, look, even if I don't get the answer I want, I think we're at least going to be safe in 5. So if we have to sign off in 5 hearts, it's not the end of the world here. We could get there. We'd be okay. So I think it's worth asking. So you're thinking North has got the king of spades. So you know their points are in diamonds and hearts, basically. And there's enough high card points that your partner could have in the heart suit or the king, for instance, and slam could easily be making. So here I'd be interested. Let me bring up the hand. I think maybe I did lose Wi-Fi because it seems to have disappeared. Hold on a second. I will just bring up the hand and then share it with you. One moment. And here we go. This is it here. Okay, let me share that. So this is a sort of sniffing out a slam situation. Okay, that's the hand there. So that hand here is actually going to make slam usually. So you bid 4, so you've got to have your 1 heart bid. Then there's been this overcall of a spade. Then they've jumped to 4 clubs to say I've got a singleton or a void in the club holding. You notice that you've got a whole bunch of high card points opposite that shortage. You know that's not ideal, but then you still recognize that there's going to be hands that are going to be slammy here. And you know that it's going to be all right to make another bid. So you've got a second round control in the diamond suit. So you know that's covered. You've got a second round control in the club suit, and you've got a first round control in the spade suit. So you can go straight into asking for no trumps. Your partner comes in and bids what? This does depend on your system. Your splinter is basically saying, I'm leaving slam open as a potential for you. I'm not just bidding 4 hearts, and I want to let you know that I've got a shortage in clubs, just in case you want to go further, just in case. So it doesn't have to be a strong hand. You don't have to be slammy as a responder to make a splinter, but you're telling your partner more about your hand in case they are slammy. Just gives them more information. So ace of clubs can be in the right hand. That's 50-50. The other thing that's wonderful is the diamonds are great here with east, right? So you might be able to rough the diamonds good too. So this person is, the extension of roaming key card, a lot of people play that 5 no trumps here is an even number of key cards with a known void. And that if you bid 6 clubs, it's an odd number of key cards with a known void. So as a Blackwood extension that gets these voids across, which is a really kind of a useful thing, and maybe perhaps pop it into Google if you want to do a bit of revision about it, about how to show the voids. Sorry for making your brain bleed, Steve, but you can show these voids within that Roman keycard toolkit. So with my partner, I would have been able to do that. I could show the void. Even if you haven't shown the void, you're going to get to slam here anyway. That 1 is going to be good. Well, the void is super useful. So then this person here, okay, B says repeat. Okay, so let me just say it a bit slowly. So the Roman keycard responses, if you play Roman keycard, I play 14-30. So 5 clubs is 1 or 4, 5 diamonds is 3 or 0. And then our 5 hearts is I've got 2 and I don't have the queen. 5 spades is I've got 2 with the queen. And all these bids, be really careful when you're making this 4 no trump bid that you can cope with the response. The one that can be a bit dangerous is if your partner comes back and bids, I've got 2 with the queen, and then you suddenly realize that you have to go to 6 because 2 with the queen is 5 spades. Then you have to go to 6. You have to be able to cope with the answer when you make these Roman keycard bids. So because voids are so important, most people add on a little extension to Roman keycard. So voids are as important as aces. So they play that as well as those bids, 5 clubs, 5 diamonds, 5 hearts, and 5 spades, they play 5 no trumps is I've got an even number of key cards and a significant void, a void that's useful, a void you want to know about. So here, everyone knows it's clubs, this void, because you've splintered the first time round. And then 6 clubs is I've got an odd number of key cards with that void. So if that's the first time you've heard it, you're probably just going to go, whoa, sorry, a bit much. So apologies if that's the case. But I think it's also useful for everyone just to know that this exists as a thing. And does it make sense on some level to everybody? What I might do is write it up next week and we can go through it again. I think that might be a good idea, this void idea. But it is quite useful. So voids are useful to communicate. So Caroline, when they, and everybody, but to answer Caroline's question, when they bid 6 clubs, you've still got across the fact that you've got an odd number of key cards, and your partner knows that it is going to be 1 now. But instead of just saying you've got 1, you've actually told them you've got a void at the same time. So it's a lovely little extension. So you've said, I've got a void in clubs now. B says, why is 14-30 than 30-40 in key cards? It's normally better because of the queen ask, I think, B, but it does depend on whether you play in the minors. But some people who don't stuff up their system will actually play that they play 30-14 for clubs, but the others they play 14-34. I do not recommend doing that because it's so difficult to remember which one you're doing when the heat of the moment when you're trying to bid slam. I always play 14-30. It used to be everyone played 13-40, but then it got switched because it is slightly better to play 40-13 because I think it's because of the queen ask. I have to process it again, but I just now blindly do it because everyone tells me it's the better thing to do. And it is the better thing to do unless it happens to be the club suit that you're doing the slam tray in. But I just think pick one. Even if you're still doing 30-14, it's not the end of the world. It's going to be fine for you most of the time. So, so the clubs normally is an odd number, but some people do play that they will bid the actual void. It does depend on which system you play. But I just play 6 clubs as an odd number. Trisha says, you've lost me over 14-30. What I might do was we'll run through this and I'll actually write it up because sometimes it's so hard when people are just talking through all these bids and you can't visualize it. So what I'm going to do is write this up and put it on a slide for next week and we'll go through it again just so you know what people are doing. Again, these are one of these add-in for bridge that's really useful to have, but they don't come up very often. But it's nice to know, but like it will just mentally takes time to learn these bids. But it's like a massive jigsaw puzzle, isn't it, Bridge? And you have to, all these bids are all these different parts of the jigsaw puzzle that you're sort of adding in bit by bit. So Rosemary West says, how does West know it's not 3 when you come in with a void? It's because they've got a void, right? So if they've got a void, they don't have a key card in the diamond suit and there's only 2 key cards left. the king of hearts, and the ace of diamonds. So it can't be 3. So you can work it out. So then they know it must be 1 because it can't be the 3. So they would work it out. No, it's 1. So they can see, they know that, yep, Roseberry's got it. Cool. So, but the other way, if you didn't play this void business, you could just bid, I've got 1 or 4 here, and then it becomes a little bit harder. So if you play 5 clubs, I've got 1 or 4, and then their partner knows they've only got 1, 2, 3 out of the 5, so it's going to be harder to get to 6. But it's got nothing to do with the preceding splinter. Oh, sorry, it absolutely does. Sorry, Steve, I'm just trying to mean what you say. For me, it does have something to do with the preceding splinter because it's clarifying that that splinter is a void. So for me, I only show the void if I've shown it in a splinter before. Some people don't. Some people just always show the void, but it's hard to work out where the void is if you've done that. So for me, it's because I have splintered it or shown the shortage earlier with that splinter. But it doesn't have to be. It depends on how you play it. It seems like a wasted bid to have 4 clubs response. I think that's why 1430 is better. I think it's because it's just because you've got room for the next bid up. Yeah, and pretty much everyone will play 1430 modern players these days. But like I said, some do switch it for if the club gets agreed. So if club is the suit that you're looking for slam in, then it's actually better to play 30-14. So here it's harder if they bid 4 clubs, but if you're lucky enough to have this 6 club bid available to you, then you're going to get to slam. And it would have been a great slam to get to, and you probably find that not that many people get to it. Let's have a look at it. Hold on. And I'll just see if we can share this screen. Give me 2 seconds. Can everybody see that? Great. Okay, so let's see what they led here. I think that is not our hand, is it? That is our hand. So let me share the other one. That one there is our hand. Does that look more familiar? Great. Okay, so Shauna, when they played this, did they lead a spade? What did they lead? I think I've got this with them leading a major. If they lead a spade, it's very easy because they lead around into your queen. But I've got a feeling I made it so they would lead a trump, which makes it a little bit harder here. So I'm winning that, and then I think probably what I would be doing is just start on a cross ruff here. So lose that diamond. The ace is gone. You've still got to lose the king of diamonds. They play back a trump. Try and get in your way. And then you're ruffing. One of these suits is hopefully going to come good for you, ruffing. You could also do a ruffing finesse on here, but that would only be a 50% chance. So I think I would go for a cross ruff situation. Okay, and now you're good, right? And you can play out those diamonds and make the contract. I'm not sure when that hand was played if you noticed that anyone actually bid 6 in it. So I'd be kind of interested in that as well. Okay, let me just bid 1 more hand. And then we can do some more work on that next week. So let's come back to this. Okay, let's try and bid this next one. So I think this might be another one actually from Caroline, this one. And please do send me your hands, especially if you get some slam hands this week. And so I will talk about that void business next week because I'm a tiny bit worried I've thrown a lot of information at people and it will be hard to remember it, but I will go over it again, I promise, next week. So this one here, I think the people were playing 1 no trump. Yeah. Okay, so what are you doing with this north hand? So I'm always starting with just a normal transfer here. So you've got these lovely diamonds, but you're also hoping for a major fit. So I would start by bidding 2 hearts, a transfer to spades with this one. So start by bidding 2 hearts, and your partner completes the transfer. So now you can show your 3 diamonds. So when you bid 3 diamonds here, that's not promising a 6 card suit at all. For me, it's 5, but it depends on your system. A lot of people, oh, sorry, I've got it all around the wrong way. Let's go right back and do it properly. 1, no trump, pass, 2 hearts, pass, 2 spades, pass. And now when they bid their diamonds, they're showing more about their hand, and they're now forcing to game when they show this new suit at the 3 level here. Because if partner didn't like either diamonds or spades, they've got to be in 3 no trumps. So it has to be a forcing to game bid now. So they bid 3 diamonds, which for most people could actually just be a 4 card suit still. But it does now say that you've got at least 5 spades and at least 4 diamonds. And now this person is going to show that they've got spades. So you're in a game 4, so they can just bid it at the 3 level. Okay, so now, would you be interested with this north hand in slam, potentially? This is one of these beautiful shapely hands. The Queen of Clubs is a wasted value because it's in a singleton, but you would be. I think so too. So you can start by bidding up the line. Start by bidding with your lowest suit first, making sure that everything is tidy and in control before you even think about bidding 4 no trumps. So you start by bidding 4 clubs. You're saying, hey, guess what? I've got a first or second round control in the club suit. So South is going to be thinking, okay, well, I've got a I've got a key card with the King of Spades, and I've got a key card with the Ace. I've got 2 key cards. My partner has got a control in the club suit. So the Jack is a bit of a wasted value, but that's great because you don't have your high card points mainly opposite that shortage. You've got to control the diamonds, and you've got to control in the hearts, and my partner's interested in slam. So this is a pretty good hand. If your partner's saying, I'm interested in slam and hearts and spades, and you have this hand, this is a good hand to offer your partner. So now you might ask for aces, because every suit you've got first or second round control in, and your partner is going to come back and say what with this one? They've got 2 with the Queen, 5 spades, and you're going to get to 6 spades. Great. Cool. Okay. So sorry about me losing Wi-Fi and disappearing for a minute, but I hope it gave you time to think about that last hand. So yeah, sniff out your slams this week. Do let me know if you have any good ones. I love to see them, and I will go over that extension to Roman keycard next week about the voids, just so you know what people are doing, even if you don't want to learn it yourself, just so you can completely follow what other people are doing.
I think that sounds like lots of fun. It makes a lot of sense. But thank you for running through those hands tonight. That was really, really interesting seeing how you kind of get the bidding. It was really interesting seeing the splinter as well and how that contributes to the slam bidding.
Yes, these are good ones. Yeah.
All right. Well, looking forward to next week, and we'll all go off and get some slams this week, I'm sure. And see everybody next week.
Okay, lovely. Nice to see everybody.